Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the 110th episode of Clarity Chat. And this is on a topic that I have been frequently invited to speak in employee town halls. And the topic is right mindset. So, as Steve Maraboli said, once your mindset changes, everything on the outside will change along with it. I mean, somebody else also said that, everything is created twice, first in your mind and then in reality. So whatever world we have around us, um, how we shape it depends on our own mind, right? So uh, um, but before I blabber on further on this, I think the last week was a momentous one. We started with the Pran Pratishtha of the Ram Janmabhoomi, Ram Mandir, and it ended with the Republic Day. Congratulations, everyone! By the way, we celebrated Republic Day yesterday and today. Yesterday, I ran a 10-kilometer marathon, 10-kilometer run in my society. It was actually a bravado when I registered for it. But once I had registered for it, I had no other way but to finish it. And then today again there was a golf tournament where I was the organizer, so I again could not extract myself out of it despite how broken my body was after yesterday's run. um, but you know what I mean, being able to run without really much of practice, being able to run a 10-kilometer marathon, 10-kilometer run, which I haven't done for a long time, and then back to back playing and actually playing well. I scored the second best score in the tournament today. Don't you think a lot of it is in the mind and not in the body? I don't have the body of somebody who can run 10 kilometers. I'm 50 plus, and still being able to do this back to back. By the way, a golf tournament is almost 18 holes, goes on for about 4.5 hours, and you have to walk at least about 7 to 8 kilometers there. Uh, and I think that gives a good, segue into our today's topic, which is the right mindset. Okay, so just a quick background. Quite some time back, I think it was in 2022, one of my client CEOs invited me to their company offsite and said, "Hey, can I address their team?" And as we were discussing the topics, she herself suggested that, Jagdish, I want my people to have the right mindset. And I said, wow, I mean, that's a topic, which is, uh, I can't say close to my heart. It is actually in my heart because I live it. And I readily agreed to it. Well, that session went on for 2 hours, quite interactive. And then again, last week I was invited to speak on to interact with another, employee town hall, again on the same topic, and this also went well. And I was like, why not convert this into why not open source it into a Clarity Chat format? So what today we will discuss is, like, the first principles. I mean, I tend to break down everything into first principles. That means it doesn't go below that. And today's first principle is, um, today's first principles are, why are we here? I mean, what do we come empty-handed, we go empty-handed. Why are we here? So that's where, I find, like, there are three whys of our existence: learn, contribute, and be remembered. And we understand the breakdown of each of the whys into hows. How can you be good at it, or how can you excel at it, right? And then, of course, there'll be experiences and case studies, and we'll be balancing these with the live audience questions. And I welcome you to ask any questions or about what you hear or what you may already have with respect to you or with respect to someone you know about mindset. Okay. Well, it's an opportunity to have a stimulating and candid discussion. And as always, honest answers, case studies, and practical approaches. No gyan. Uh, but before I go forward, we have CXOs, founders, and IT managers and seasoned technology industry leaders in the audience. All of us know that technology is necessary but not sufficient to drive business performance, and the guests on Clarity Chat have built the bridge between the necessary and sufficient with their art of managing technologies. We build the bridge between their learnings and all of you who are trying to make a powerful impact with technology. It's all about experiences, no gyan. So thank you all for joining us from for last 109 episodes and encouraging us with your interactions, questions. Um, and Before I go further, may I request everyone to just make your presence felt. Send in a comment in the comment section of YouTube or LinkedIn, along with your name and where you're joining from. Okay. Well, as of now, I don't see any comments, so I have actually two doubts. One, am I visible and audible to all of you, or is it just my virtual studio showing me that, oh yeah, yeah, you are live, everyone is listening to you. The second thing is that, are there any audience? Do we have anyone? uh, well, thank you, Vinay, for letting me know that I'm not speaking to an empty screen and a camera. Thank you guys for joining us, the 11 of you who have joined. Let us know who you are, where you're joining from, and that will be great. Okay. I do know that this is weekend time, and we do keep track of the metrics, over 1 or 2 weeks to understand the timing and mix of our audience, and we know that more than half of the audience actually watched the recorded version, because maybe Saturday is either the nap time or the mall time. Okay. Okay, so let us. Thank you, Rajesh, for making your presence felt. Rajesh from Pune, and thank you, Partha from Bhubaneswar. Thank you, guys. Hey, where is everybody else? Make your presence felt and ask your questions as we go on. Okay, so let me bring in the presentation. Okay, so um, this is about mindset. If you see this word cloud, there are many things which consist of your mindset, whether it is possibilities or whether it is attitudes, thinking, behaving, etc. But I think we all know what mindset means, like how you come across the world. Okay, overall. So well, this is the quote that I started with. Once your mindset changes, everything on the outside will change. So this is something I want you to start thinking about. Okay, why are we all here? um, I mean, what I mean is that you see this person on the deathbed, all spent, having lived the life, and what was the purpose of it all? We came empty-handed, we go empty-handed. So why are we all here? What's the purpose of it all, right? What's the purpose of participating in this presentation, or in this live chat? So now if we understand the answer to that question, I think that then leads to our upcoming discussion. Well, so there are, while we go empty handed, between empty handed coming and empty handed going, there are three things that give us the purpose of our life. One is learn, contribute, and be remembered, right? um, as we say in Hinduism, that, or in many religions, that the soul, it's the soul that actually evolves. All the We get a body to gather all the experiences and learnings, which helps our soul evolve and continue its travel to a higher and higher level, right? So that's your learning part. When you're when someone is on the deathbed, I think one of the things they would be thinking, okay, oh, what did I learn, right? um, what I started with, where I ended up, and what was the learning in all of that. The second is contribute, right? We all come here and we do something. We um, we may build, let's say, civil structures, or we may help in, we may do a great accounting job, or we may do a great customer service job, but somewhere or the other, you're contributing to something larger than you, right? That's what makes life purposeful, that you're contributing to the world, you're contributing to the society, or to whoever giving you a who's helping you earn your bread. If you're in a job, then it's your organization. If you're an entrepreneur, then it's your customers, and you're contributing to them, right? And last is be remembered. I mean, this person that I showed you just now, if this guy is lonely at the end, as at the time when he's leaving, if there's nobody to remember him, then it's all in vain. Okay, so that's the third part, which is be remembered. That means create great memories, leave behind, a lasting legacy, and be remembered for, you know, I'm not saying what a great person you were, but for how you added value to others, right? Okay. So now let's now drill deeper into each one of them. Okay. And guys, anytime you have a question, please do ask. I know it can be a bit of heady presentation, so I will be bringing in a lot of my experiences and case studies here to make my point, as I always do. So first thing is learn, right? So how do you learn? What all constitutes to learning and having a rich life eventually? So first is start with why. We as human beings, we do a lot of things out of chores, right, or out of rituals, right? It's always important to question why. Why am I doing this? Or so there's this great book called Start With Why. You can Google it, maybe buy it. One of the best books you will ever read. Okay. And it says, and one of the things that it says is that, don't stop at one why. So drill down, and at least, unless you ask why 4 or 5 times, generally they say six whys get you to the answer, right? um, you will still be you'll be still scratching the surface. Okay, so now let's start with um, information technology. So you are, let's say, somebody who's managing IT, or who's selling IT, um, or who's project managing IT. So the first thing is that, why are you doing this? So the first answer may be, oh, my customer wants to automate a process. Then I think we need to ask the second why. Why do we want to automate the process? So the question will be, of course, they want to increase the efficiency of the process, right? Then we ask the next why. But why do they want to increase the efficiency of the process? Okay. So it will come to, okay, they are addressing the problem of cycle time. Okay. On how fast can you get back to your customers, and that needs to be brought down from, let us say, 3 days to one day, right? um, Bingo, you have it. Can you go any deeper than this? Probably yes. So let's ask one more why. So why Why is that important? Why is bringing down that 3 to 1 days important? You say, oh, customer satisfaction. Yes, that's where we come to customer satisfaction, customer delight, right? That's something, which eventually drills you. Asking a set of whys takes you to, oh, so it is not just automating the process, it is actually improving your customer satisfaction. Maybe another answer to another why can be that, hey, it will help you reduce the cost. Reduce the cost means improve the profits. Oh yeah, it will improve the profits. So what are we talking about? We are talking of enterprise KPIs, right? Now think about it. Whatever you are doing, wherever you are doing, in IT or wherever, if you keep asking a set of whys, why, you will eventually come to that it is for improving the organization performance or improving the customer satisfaction, which is actually again part of the organization performance, right? So and therefore, when I built my scorecard as a CIO, I actually put a substantial level of organization performance improvement as part of my KPIs, right? And we built multiple, you can say, templates, etc., for converting whatever IT is doing into the business performance, and vice versa is also true. It's also to actually go back in business functions and checking whether whatever IT was supposed to add as an outcome or as value, is it happening or not? I mean, let me give you an example. Okay, we did something similar. Barcode automation for incoming vehicles. Now, if you know an automotive plant, there are hundreds of trucks coming in on a daily basis, and and they are bringing in thousands of SKUs materials, and therefore, we actually ended up doing a lot of automation. QR codes on invoices, and then consolidation QR code. That means, like, you can actually scan one single QR code and the entire truck can come in. We used to, I think, call it consignment barcode. Okay, and all of that. And once I went to one of our plants and I said, guys, I want to, uh, I was always concerned, like anybody else, that, what will be the queue of trucks at my material gate. And you won't believe it, everybody, right from the business guys to my own IT guys, they kept stepping around the issue. Oh, you know what? Let's see this, let's see that, etc. So finally, I put my foot on. I said, I want to visit the GRN office, the GR office, right? The goods receiving office. And so there was no option, and we went there and we figured out that, what, the some of the barcode scanners were not working, and there was some issue, etc., etc., etc. And eventually there was a long queue of trucks, and probably people knew it, and I was like, yeah, whatever it takes, that's where you add value. So one is to be clear about where you add value, and second is to go back and check whether that value is being added or not. And if not, then whatever you've done, the purpose is not yet finished. So go back and do whatever rest is needed. I have other examples, where we baselined the business KPIs in the beginning of the project. Successful go live, the press release is done and everything done, and 6 months later, I actually asked my team to bring me the same KPIs, and the needle had not shifted. And we figured out that, hey, there were some HR issues because of which they could not hire the people to run that particular program or that particular initiative, and therefore, like, while the technology is there, it's doing something, but it's not resulting in impact in KPIs. So actually, I had nothing to do there as a CIO, but I actually took it up with the HR guys and said that, hey guys, I mean, the IT investment of X crores is not delivering value because you are not giving our function, my customer function, people worth X lakhs. Do you know that this X lakhs decision is costing the company effectiveness for Y crores? And they got the people and got the work done. So that's start with why. So the point is not just start with why, but keep asking why until you come to something eventual, which should be your north star, and everything else that happens in between should be for something for you to manage. Okay. So I have one question, one point here from Dhaval Mankar. He says another why could be scaling for future, doing more with less as the company grows. Oh, absolutely, absolutely, Dhaval. This is so important. If you did not have to scale for the future, a pawn shop doesn't require technology because the guy is going to be there, 5 years later. He's not going to. But if the pan guy is ambitious and he wants to scale up into the future, where he says that, okay, you know what, I will have a franchisee of 100 of my branded pan shops with a certain amount of standardization, etc., he'll definitely require technology, right? And he'll definitely require automation. So yes, in fact, Dhaval, the converse of it is also true. Okay, many a times not having technology can prevent you from scaling up. So again, there was um, early in my stint as CIO. See, I came from business, so I knew all kinds of initiatives business guys were planning. In terms of gathering more and more value out of the customer value chain. And when I came and I started assessing those programs with lens of technology, that hey, whatever these plans I have seen in different internal forums, is our technology ready for doing that? And I found that no, the answer was a big no. And I actually took it up with management. I said, even though I was the CIO, I said, guys, we are not ready for this. Okay. So you know what, you need investments, you need additional technology, you need whatever. We have to do that, right? So yes, summarizing it, start with why. um, it's not just one why, but a set of whys which eventually get you down to something which is inviolable. You cannot go down further. For example, customer satisfaction. You cannot go down further as to why customer satisfaction. It's so commonsensical that, oh yeah, customer satisfaction makes sense. We can't go down further. Okay, which of course, customer satisfaction means more business, obviously. But I'll stop at that. So whatever you are doing, wherever you are doing, start with why, and the eventual answer after 4 or 5 whys you will get much better clarity into the fact that the outcome that is from my work is not just what I'm doing right now, but it has got so many other elements which someone needs to manage, and sometimes why not me? Okay. Okay, so there's a good question. It's LinkedIn user, so I can't see your name. Say, if I were an individual in the ecosystem, how should I go about bringing my value, mm, and the impact I'm making? It's a great question. So, see, I like all of you. I started out as an individual contributor. I was a service engineer. Um, I was a service engineer, and I was going around repairing uh, excavators and cranes in Andhra. And I had a series of bosses. I actually never got this question because for me, if I know the why is clear, that like for example, for me there were two whys. Very quickly into my career, I started managing a team of 10 or 11 people, and I was in customer service. So I had two very clear north stars for me. One was customers, uh, and in my case, the customers had a huge cost of downtime if of their machines. 1,200 rupees an hour in 96, 97. I mean, imagine what it would be today. Okay. And so we were very clear that if we don't do our job efficiently, if we are not able to deploy engineers, if we are not able to order parts, etc., the customer loses 1,200 rupees per hour. And that was such a simple metric that it just kept us very, very focused. My second KPI was people. Okay, that I need to, if my customers have to be served the best, then my people need to be taken care um, first. I remember I actually took up an issue, even though I was just 2 or 3 years into the company. I found that it was a hot place, and our people couldn't actually have AC rooms with whatever allowances and policies we had. And I actually fought right up to the top level, even though I was like just a let's say frontline manager. I fought with my bosses. They agreed or not. I actually, when somebody very senior visited the office, I made a very emotional pitch to him that we should take care of our people. They shouldn't fall ill. They should be productive. And if all of that, then, and if your customers have to be happy, then the guys have to have AC room. So the policy was changed actually. Okay. So don't think that you do not have the power, or you do not have the influence. If your purpose, if your why is strong, right, there are people who will listen to you. Okay. I was watching the Imitation Game, a movie on Alan Turing, and this guy wants to build a machine which will break the German coding machine Enigma. Requires $100,000. His boss flatly refuses him. He says, "No, go, like 20 more cryptographers, but machine, I mean, pointless." And this guy actually says, "Who do you report to?" And he says, "Winston Churchill." Okay. And this guy actually drops a letter to Winston Churchill asking for that investment, because he was so, I would say, convinced about his why, that he didn't even think for a moment who's Winston Churchill. He just wrote to Winston Churchill, London, and he got his $100,000 approval, and he became the boss of the place. And actually, Turing machine, and that Turing test and all, they are now world famous. He broke a machine that broke the German code and won the Allies the war. And by some estimates, with 2 million less lives lost, and with 2 years, the war lasted 2 years lesser with that contribution. Okay, so Neeraj Mahana. So Neeraj says, at times asking why becomes a devil's advocate scenario. Well, see, um, what we are talking about right now is our own mindset, right? So this why is we have to ask ourselves. Now, as human beings, our um, one of the things we which pulls us back, okay, is why. Why should I do this? Why should I do this? So when you're questioning yourself in terms of what to do, what not to do, or like why should I do this, I think many a times, and we will come to that in the openness and experimentation, the question to ask is, why not should I do this, right? And you will find that many a times you don't have see, you will get tens of excuses as to why you should continue doing something, especially if it is not breaking the status quo. But if it is breaking outside of the status quo, you will find that the question why not does not have convincing answers, and that means you should go and do it. Okay. uh okay, that LinkedIn, that unknown person is me, Sowjanya Shetty, your old buddy. Hey, hi Sowjanya, how are you? You know what I mean, I think it's your settings, user settings on LinkedIn, which sometimes does not show your name to me. Whatever comments you guys put on YouTube or LinkedIn, they actually flow to me in the form of a running sort of set of messages in the tool, which is not LinkedIn, which is something else called StreamYard. And sometimes your privacy settings actually do not reveal your name to me, and therefore it comes as LinkedIn user, and that's what confused me. I mean, sorry if it disturbed you in any way. Okay, so we go back to the presentation. We are halfway down the line, and let's come to the next one, which is be open, experiment. And thank you, Neeraj, for setting us up exactly, with your question on why, and my counter question on why not. Be open, experiment. Whenever something new comes your way, don't ask why, ask why not. Okay. And you will find that you do not have good enough reasons not to experiment. Okay. Now, this is something which, I mean, let me take my own life story. I joined Tata Motors for my love of automobiles, but then when it came to understanding what kind of jobs I will have to do. It figured out I We figured out that as automotive service engineer, we'll have to spend a lot of time with the dealers. They will be actually doing the real stuff. We will be more like QA on that, right? QA managers, etc. And I found that there is a construction equipment business which doesn't have dealers, and therefore everything has to be done yourself. You have to sell yourself, you have to service yourself. And we're like fresh engineers out of the college. Who wants to do managerial? Okay. So I said, guys, I want to dirty my hands. As they say, मुझे पाना चलाना है. Okay. And I actually ended up working spanners for next 4 years. But that was one of the most invaluable life learnings I had. So the question was, I joined for my love of automobiles. So why should I join construction equipments? Now, when I asked the question, why not should I join construction equipment? I have like no answers. I mean, no convincing answers on why not, because direct customer interface, small team, very competitive market, not really a market leader like Tata Trucks, etc., etc. And then I said, wow, this must be exciting, and it was really exciting. And whatever I am today, a lot of it is my what do you call grooming in this highly competitive, highly customer centric, and highly agile business, which is now Tata Hitachi. At that time, it used to be called Tata Construction Equipment Business Unit. Well, I mean, from there I came to headquarters. I was in customer service headquarters doing transformation programs, and I was offered to move to a IT program as a subject matter expert. Now, at that time, the going in, wisdom was that, guys, if you go into a cross-functional project, you actually stop learning or evolving on your functional hierarchy and functional growth. And so when you come back, you will find that you are a misfit. I said, that was why should I, why I mean why should I go to this project? So the answer was, no, you should not. Okay, but then it was like, there's technology there. There's a big amount of transformation which I started loving by then. Well, I said, बाद में देखा जाएगा. A lot of time we do not act, we do not experiment just for the fear of failure or the fear of future. If I do this today, what will happen tomorrow? And I said, check it, we'll see when it comes. So experimented with it. I mean, never thought I will become a CIO. When I was service engineer, I used to dream of becoming the service head, and lo and behold, sort of 10 years later, I'm the CIO of the company. Well, the CRM, and then the CIO happened. And so on. When the question was like, should I come on my own, become an entrepreneur? Well, the biggest fear would be fear of future, especially when 3 months after I came out, COVID is stuck. But it worked out. So the point is to experiment, and the point is also humility. If the experiment doesn't succeed, just say, oh yeah, maybe it didn't work out. Go back. Nothing stops you from going back. But when you go back, what you were there some time back and what you go back after, let's say, a failed experiment, you are a different person. You're not the same person. There's a big learning that you have accumulated in the process. So if you're successful, maybe not so much of learning, but then if so what I mean is that there's learning either way, whether you succeed or fail in your experiments. You will always end up with a learning, and that's the theme of this part of the session, which is learn, right? So um, then next important thing is get out of your comfort zone. Okay, so on one side, as this needle shows you, on one side is comfort zone, on the other side is life. Okay, so I mean, here I have many examples. Of course, like, as you have seen my own life experience, it has always been to get out of comfort zone, learn something, If it doesn't work out, just say, sorry, sir, no problem, we'll go back. But then I have this one, a lot more of, these case studies or examples when I have tried to push people out of comfort zones. Okay. So let me give you one or two of them. So, um, well, when I look at people or when I look at something, I try to abstract it at least one or two levels above. That means when I look at what you're doing, I'll first look at, okay, so what are the processes that your expertise would be, because you're doing something, because you're doing certain tasks. And then I actually will try to abstract it to what are the capabilities you have that are allowing you to, that are helping you be good at these processes, right? So, I mean, why people sometimes say that I'm a good mentor is because I'm able to see through what they are doing right now, and basically abstract it to two levels above, to the set of capabilities. And many times, many of these capabilities may be dormant. So, here is a case study of one of my colleagues, who was in my partner organization, and he had done some good work in, process reengineering, when a big new product was coming out. He did a lot of work on that. The product didn't work. You may guess what it was by now. And this guy was like, became another SAP program manager, and he wasn't enjoying it. So he came to me and said, Jagdish, can you help me suggest what should I be doing next, which I would enjoy and all that. I'm not enjoying this technology program manager role. So I figured out that he has worked so intensively with business functions, working on, reworking the processes and all of that. And I was grappling at that time with one function, which is shared services or global delivery, which is like, take all your small little processes around the which happen at scale in different parts of the company, and then consolidate them and centralize them, right? And I actually required a business relationship manager there to help them with their day-to-day problem solving, and and be like a guide, a technology guide to them. When I suggested to him, he jumped from his chair literally and said, "Gee, how could you even think of it? I mean, I don't know S of shared services. I mean, I've never even stepped into that area now." I said, "Listen, here is how I look at it. Your core capabilities into processes and their core requirement, from their core requirement is processes, even though they keep saying automation, automation. It's actually they require a depth in processes, depth and breadth in processes. Try it out 6 months. We'll see later if it doesn't work out." And well, he came back after 6 months. Jagdish, this is one of the best things that has happened to me. So the point is not that I threw him out of his comfort zone, but the thing was that he agreed to experiment, he agreed to come out of his comfort zone, and that led to success, right? Many other case studies where I took somebody from one function, looking at the core capabilities, put him into some other function within whatever I had, and it actually worked out, right? So so let's summarize. Learn. So you start with why, keep asking a series of whys until you come to that inviolable purpose or outcome where you are contributing, right? Be open to experiment. Don't have fear of failure or fear of future, okay? Because we haven't seen either of them, okay? And if at all it doesn't work out, you go back and get out of your comfort zone. You know, as they say, "Dar ke aage jeet hai," right? Okay. So now we come to the next one, which is basically contribute. Okay. So contribute. What are the things that, if we are going to be looking at how did we contribute to this world, right? As we lie on our deathbed, and what's the mindset then? Therefore, we bring to contributing. There are a couple of things. The first one is customer focus, right? We just did this thought experiment. where we said that you're doing automation program and da 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 da, keep asking through a set of whys, and you were, oh, customer satisfaction. Now, similarly, anything that you're doing, you definitely have a customer. Okay, so uh, well, if you're a customer facing person, even if you're not a customer facing person, you just look at the chain of information, or the chain of whatever your work, how it follows, and you will figure out that eventually it actually ends up with a customer, right? Many of the functions have internal customers. In fact, IT is a classic example. IT has lots of internal customers, right? The point is, focus on the customer, not as a lip service, but seriously, and many a times formally. Like, for example, most organizations, like, IT and any other function, your peers, and you have, like, your natural, what do you call, give and takes and everything. You don't get into my area, I don't get into your area, but if I consider you as my customer, I will actually have a more formal discussion with you, try to impress you, what I'm doing, what I can do for you, etc. And so I had set up these reviews with business leaders, where we used to discuss IT's performance. And one of them was, what is the value realization from all the IT initiatives that we have undertaken in your area. I wouldn't say all of them were green, but there were enough greens, but there were enough reds also, because many a times, again, this, other things would not be there either. Some process leakages will be there, or let's say, your enabling things from the business side, whether it's training or whether it is people, was not there. And we were able to then work a path to a better value realization. So that's like being a little formal about it, okay, and being more accountable towards your customer, even in your personal life. If you look at, let's say, your family, I mean, in your family, people depend on you for something or the other. The customer depends on you, so the people who depend on you, and you got to do what it takes. um, you know I would say the best customer service person I've ever found, I mean, anywhere, is actually a mom, a mother. She actually makes sure that, if the so-called stakeholders, whether it's husband or kids, or old parents, or anybody in the family needing help, etc., everyone gets their stuff on time. So there's quite a bit of inspiration to take from there. And the second is basically be proactive. Okay, there's nothing called tomorrow, day after, later, etc. And I think, as a professional, when we look at this from a mindset point of view, it's like, let it, you do today, you start working on today what may be required day after tomorrow. I have many examples where the organization required something 2 years later, but I started discussing it today, okay, and discussing, shaping the agenda, working through the investment, etc., etc. Now, important thing here is that when you work in organizations, in the processes have their cycle times. So you got to start much earlier, right? Rather than, um, well, if you start too late, you're creating a crisis, you're creating urgencies for other people, right? So start in time, and then basically, you don't end up making things urgent. So there are only two types of things that we have. Either urgent things, that means something that needs to be done today, tomorrow, day after tomorrow, right? And then there are important things which typically do not have a timeline. They have longer timelines. I need to do this year, I need to do it in general, etc., etc., right? But if you do not act on the important, right, you will keep bringing in urgencies on the table. So an example, um, and many times in an organizational context, you don't need to be like a, you know in senior management to understand what's coming. There's enough information about where the organization is going, which is available. whether it's to investors or employees, town halls or whatever, right? If you sort of think it through to how it impacts your function, okay, you probably will always be ready. Just to give you an example, when our organization announced a big product, the next gen product, which would change the market forever, this announcement was done, and I think it took the next 3 years for us to build that product, right? And when it was coming out, when the launch preparations and all were getting underway, um, that year when it was about to be launched, my guys, that product team came to me and asked that, Jagdish, so for this, what do you require in CRM? And I said, no, I have everything ready for you. I probably, I probably require the growth investments. Like, you want to open X new dealerships, you want to have Y new, customer access points. I mean, those things we can do, but fundamental applications wise, platforms wise, etc., etc., I'm all set. And they were surprised. But now the thing is that the organization gave us 3 years, right? And in my annual budgeting cycle, I kept including those investments which would be required. So I was already just a public announcement, a very, very highly public announcement. I actually took it and then worked backwards as to what do I need to do for the next 3 years. And I did not ask for any new investments. And that was surprising to many people, but it's just a simple thing: be proactive, right? Okay, now we are coming to the last 10 minutes of the session, and I do have a couple of questions more. Um, and meanwhile, guys, the problem continues. People who are joining from their mobiles, I can't see your comments. So Vinay is sending me from the back end. So I see Venkatesh Natarajan here. Hey, hi, VN. How are you? Guys, Venkatesh Natarajan is the ex-CIO of Ashok Leyland, a good friend, and he has been on Clarity Chat himself. So it's really delightful to see him here. Okay. Then I have a couple of more highs. Prashant Kumar, human life comes with purpose. Learn, contribute, and create memories. Absolutely. Well, if there's a fourth one, guys, put in a comment there. I'll include it. I'll think about it and maybe enrich my presentation. But I mean, on a serious note, I do think deeply about life, and why are we here. I remember long back in my WordPress profile, I said, hey, we come empty handed, we go empty handed. I'm here to learn and grow. Okay, nothing else. So that's the purpose of your life, right? And I do also have from my backend team, they say Ajay Pawar working with Canara HSBC Life Insurance. Hey, thanks Ajay for joining. And let us continue to the last part of our session, which is be remembered. Okay, the most important part, I think, whether you um, learn or contribute, I mean, we have limitations to that with respect to how we are built, but I think this is something that anybody can work on. So what's the first what is it about being remembered? What is it that constitutes being remembered? Okay, I think the first and foremost is basically being authentic. Being authentic means not allowing a lot of polishes that the world gives us, whether it may be your chair, your organization, the power that you get with your different roles, etc., etc., etc. If they are not able to distort you, what you see here is a mirror on one side, a clear mirror on the other side, a distorted mirror. Many times the world does everything to distort our mirror, right? Who are you? I don't say I'm CIO, I'm Jagdish Belwal, I say I'm CIO of so and so, right? So we always associate these virtual definitions to ourselves. And what happens is that then, we start acting differently. Okay. And very clearly from your own experience that, we really respect people who are authentic, who are humble. And humble means what? Humble means that they have not allowed their power, position, organization, etc., to rub off on their ego. Okay, so be authentic. Um, uh, I'm thinking of some more practical applications of being authentic. It's like, if you don't know something, I don't know. You're not obligated to know, right? You're not, and never assume that, like, I should be knowing this. One of the reasons, whatever, I learn, or like, let's say my proximity to business guys, is they always found me authentic as far as the business knowledge is concerned. I would go to a shop floor and say, "Sir, this is a simple thing. You should know that." And I'm like, "Sorry, I don't know this, but can you explain to me?" And then they would, like, they would kind of get a bit of a shock that somebody senior is saying, "Please educate me on this." And this is how you would see in most good leaders, that they are not, they don't pretend to be what they don't know, or they don't pretend to be what they are not. Let me give you one. I quote this example a lot. So we were in our GET days presentation class, how to make great presentations, how to communicate well with the world and all. And it came with all its paraphernalia, and they were going to record. So each one had to give a small speech, 1 minute speech. They were going to record it, and they were going to play it back to the entire class and ask everybody to give you feedback. Okay, the results were hilarious, but before the session started, they asked everybody, "Hey, so who do you want to speak as?" Right? And somebody said Martin Luther King, Gandhi, Nehru, Indira Gandhi, this, that, and all that. Okay. And then the next question was, who's the best amongst them that you can be speaking as? And the answer to all of our dismay was yourself. Right? I think that was one of the biggest lessons in authenticity I got. So when I'm in front of you, in Clarity Chat, or when I'm in front of any audience, big or small, I'm myself. I'm not trying to be Bill Gates, or I'm not trying to be Jeff Bezos. No, I mean, they have their own place. I have my own place. So why should I act like somebody else? So similarly, I'm Jagdish Belwal. I'm not the CIO of some company. So why should I pretend to be that, right? So that's about being authentic. The next one is, I'll go a little faster. The next one is empathy, right? So empathy is your ability to be in some to feel how somebody's shoes pinch. Okay, and that's a great ability. This ability can be nurtured. There's an article that I wrote in LinkedIn long back, almost 5-6 years back, about empathy, so you might want to read it. Vinay, please take a note of it. We will post a link to that. So I'll just summarize that article for you. So three things how to be more empathetic. One is to know that nobody comes to office to screw up, okay, or nobody comes to wherever. Nobody comes to work to screw up. Nobody comes to school to screw up. Um, Even your maid doesn't come to your home to screw up. Okay, that means when screw ups happen, okay, they are either they are either the person doesn't know something, or something went wrong, right? So you need to get deeper, again, get into the why of it, and then try to establish that, what other than the person himself or herself may be the reason. Okay, and many a times you actually come up with surprises. So that's first part of being empathetic. Second part of being empathetic is delayed judgment. We are human beings. We are prone to running to judgments. What is that? Jumping to judgments. And delayed judgment is that, the moment you something comes to your mind, good or bad, favorable, non-favorable, just delay it for a while. Just say that, "Oh, hey, you know what, let me decide on it later." Somebody comes across to you that, "Hey, this guy's arrogant." You say, "Okay, wait, let me establish, let me get more facts, let me ask some qualifying questions, etc., etc." But delay your judgment, right? And once you delay your judgment, that opens you up to understanding the other person much more easily. So Okay, another case study. Sorry, guys, I'll go a little 5 7 minutes over time. Forgive me for that. But when these stories come, I can't not tell you those. Okay, so I was sitting in my office, and so there's two guys, two three guys come, and one of them is like Gora, and then you know while we exchange cards, this guy, he sits on the chair, and he like sort of throws his business card across and say, "Hey, I'm so and so," right? Well, what would happen to you? I mean, you'll feel offended, right? So I felt offended, and I'm like, delay the judgment. Okay, so I gave him my card. I looked at his card, and as I went through his card, I realized, oh my god, why is he like that? So it was written clearly. This guy was from Sydney. Okay, and Australians are, they're some of the, they're some of the best people, but they're some of the rashest people as well. I mean, they are not suave and, like, let's say, polished and all of them, like Britishers or English people. They're much more direct, and they're much more, like, informal and all that. And the moment I saw that, I was like, all right, and I became his friend. I was like, oh my god, this guy is very authentic. He's behaving the way he is, and he's not trying to be like a Frenchman. Okay, so, and the third one is, remember that, um, that one day you will be 60 years plus one day. That means on that day, whether you are approached by people, whether somebody remembers you or not, never forget that one day you will be 60 years and one day. So stop judging people, stop firing people, okay, and be more empathetic, be more understanding of others. Okay, now the next one. Okay, so that's about empathy. The third is gratefulness. Yeah, gratefulness. See, in today's world, I think, as normal, even normal people today have uh, comforts, conveniences, and amenities which were not available to kings, even not which were not available to even kings about 100 years back, right? You can think about it, whether it is electric light or refrigerators or air conditioners or televisions. They were not even available to kings many years back, right? But then we still complain about life. We uh, we sort of take it for granted. We take it for granted, not just that I've got a fridge, TV, AC, and all that, but also that, like, I'm hale and hearty, and we complain. So one important, very very important part of your mindset is gratefulness. And be thankful for what you have, and be thankful for even the smallest things. Okay, so there's a hack for it which is called Grace Journal. You can Google it. Okay, so Grace Journal is basically a way of consciously finding things to thank for. Okay, again, as I said, there are two tendencies human beings have. One is to take life for granted, take good things for granted, and second is to give extra attention to negative things. Okay, and that's because human beings are wired like that. That's like our amygdala response. So you can actually Google amygdala, what amygdala does. It's a very highly developed faculty of fight and flight within human beings, which has evolved over a million years, when things used to be much more insecure. But today, with all the security that we live, that portion of the brain is still active, and it keeps judging things negatively. It keeps finding fear and terror in even smallest of things. Okay, so how do you overcome the negativity and the taken for granted approach? Is by writing every night. This is my Grace Journal. Okay, if you can see, this has got like half a page sized information, one for every night. Right, every night I fill it up. This is probably my seventh or eighth one, and it's just like, recalling your day's incidences, and finding at least three things that you can be grateful for. Okay, and these things should have happened on that day. It is not I am grateful for good health, good wife, good kids and all. No, something that has happened today. Okay, now it's a very very conscious process for recalling positive things, and this is something like neuroplasticity. It works on your brain, and it makes you into a more positive person, somebody who looks around for positive things in day-to-day life and positive things in the interactions that you have on day-to-day basis, and become a much more positive person, right? And the last one, and not the least, is basically pay it forward. Okay, now whatever we are, and today, in whatever good position we are, I mean, the fact that you are you have a laptop or a mobile and you're watching this, the fact that you're on LinkedIn, you've got a LinkedIn profile, means that you are somewhere there. Okay, and how did you come here? Was it your own efforts? No, it was actually a lot of people who contributed there, right? Now, how do you pay them back? So please remember, when it comes to uh, you know things that people have done for you, whether it's your parents and your generations, or whether it's your mentors, your teachers, coaches, etc., etc., they don't need it back. Your father doesn't need anything from you, right? Your manager doesn't need anything from you, your coach doesn't need anything from you, so how do you give it back to them? And the process is not to give it back to them, the process is to give it to somebody else. And I call that process as pay it forward process. Okay, so I became a CIO at the age of 37. Okay, now that was a big blessing, but then there were many people who were responsible for that. The people who betted for me, there were people who sponsored me, there were people who fought with others for me, right? Now how can I pay it forward? Just remember what all they did for you, and you do it for somebody else. So when my managers fought for me, I fight for my subordinates, right? When when uh, when I was given a position, when I was given a role for which everyone said I'm not ready, right? I try to find promising people to whom I can give roles for which maybe they are not ready. So what that means is that somebody took a risk on talent for me, I will take a risk on talent for others. In general, what happens is, when you come to a position of power, whatever got you there, you actually prevent others from taking it. There's a psychological organization behavior theory around it. So people who have done MBA would know it. I have forgotten it, though even I read in my MBA class. Um, that means I was a bad student. Okay, so it's natural. The natural thing, what 90% of the people will do is, whatever got them what they have, they will sort of protect it by not easily giving it to people who don't have it. But if you are of the minority, who want to give thanks, pay it forward, and give access, whatever you got access to because of others, you give access to others, right? So that's called pay it forward. Mentor people, help people, guide people as much as you can, help others. So that brings us to, I can say, by now I can say that you wouldn't have, this is not something you'll find in a book, which is how to increase your mind, how to get a positive mindset or improve your mindset, by showing a person on the deathbed. So let's summarize it on this. I explored, learned, I came out of my comfort zones, I experimented, I worked hard and achieved. I, my impact was much greater because I thought about the customer, and I was able to do more and bigger and better things because I was proactive. I wasn't always reacting to things, and I helped people. I empathized with people. I understood people. I uh, I was authentic with them. I didn't try to be somebody else, and I helped people as much as I know. And what better way to be remembered? So learn, contribute, be remembered, and that's how. And that's about how to develop the right mindset. It is by begin with the end in mind. When you're on the deathbed, what are the three things you should be remembering? And then what do you need to do that? For that, And that's about it. We are 7 minutes over, guys. Let me see if there is anybody, any comments there. There's one comment from Amit Upadhyay. He says, the two most important days in your life are the day you are born and the day you find out why. Absolutely, absolutely. And it's harder than what it seems. But yeah, those three elements, start thinking deeply about it, learn, contribute, and be remembered. And what for? I think that's where your answer is. Dhaval, thanks, you liked it. Kiran, Jagdish, you can also use the journal app from Apple. Hey, Kiran, I've actually thought about, using journaling apps, but really, I love the feel of a pen over paper, and then being able to leave a sort of a real impression on that. Whenever I'm traveling, many times I don't carry my journal, so at those times I do write my digital journal. But in general, I love every day at least once, sitting with my pen and paper, and it's one way to remain connected with what I love to do earlier, right? And hey, Rajesh, thank you so much. Are there any other comments? Yeah, Amarjeet Khanduja says, Kiran, Amarjeet Khanduja says hi to you. And also has a comment. It says, I can't bring up this comment somehow, but Amarjeet says, shop floor experience teaches a lot, and we are curious. Many whys occur, each aspect in the plant's ecosystem. Hey, thanks, Amarjeet. I'm glad you liked it. In other words, it's called it's called Gemba. Be at the place of action, do it yourself, learn it yourself. Don't sit in the shop floor, in the top floor, and try to imagine what's happening on shop floor. Go there and check it out. That's the Japanese way. Okay, so guys, eventually, just one last thing. When we talking about being open, being experimental, etc., etc., just one thing we must remember: a lot of it does carry a little bit of, you can say, risk or anxiety. But I think that's where the most important thing, which is not there in the presentation, comes in, which is trust your destiny. Okay, so I mean, when I look back at my life, I think all the things I have done, and many things which I did not do, it was actually coming out of my conviction in what I want to do, or what is right for me at that moment, in that month, in that year. Okay, combined with a trust in destiny. So one is faith in yourself, and the trust in destiny that, hey, whatever I do, you will take me to the place that I need to go. On that note, thank you everybody for being part of the session. Thank you for amazing comments and questions out there. And thank you everyone who's going to be watching this recording. Really happy with some of the comments that it added some value and some perspective. And of course, please keep sending in your comments. Every one of them enriches me as well. And enjoy the rest of your weekend. Sorry for being 10 minutes over, but something close to my heart, something I take 2 hours in a employee town hall, try to compress it to one hour. Thank you everyone, and have a great weekend. Bye bye.